Ex-wife cheated during a girls' trip. Hey, true story. My name is Bobby, and I've got a story I never thought I'd be telling. I came across your channel one night when I couldn't sleep. I was up at 2 a.m., just staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of everything that had happened. One video turned into five, five turned into 20. I don't even remember how many I watched that night, but I do remember feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time: understood. That's what made me decide to write this email. If my story helps even one man dodge a bullet, then it's worth sharing. So here it is, from the beginning. I met Alyssa when I was 27. She was 24 and working at the front desk of the gym I had just joined. At the time, I was managing a small but growing contracting business that I built from the ground up. Life was simple: early mornings, long work days, and quiet nights at home. I wasn't flashy, but I was solid, reliable. I had a plan, and I was executing it. Alyssa was captivating. She had those green eyes that locked in on you and didn't let go. Long dark hair, athletic build, and the kind of voice that made everything sound flirtatious, even when it wasn't. But what got me wasn't just her looks. It was how she made me feel seen, heard, important. You'd walk into that gym, and she'd light up like you were her favorite person in the world. We started talking casually, jokes about workouts, little conversations here and there. I started finding reasons to linger after workouts. Eventually, I asked her out. Our first date was a walk downtown and dinner at a food truck festival. She loved it, said it was the most fun she'd had in months. It didn't take long before we were inseparable. The next 2 years were, in hindsight, a dream built on sand. I thought we were building something real. She met my family. I met hers. She talked about kids, a farmhouse someday, chickens in the yard, and working from home doing marketing for small businesses. I helped her sign up for an online certification, paid for the whole thing, encouraged her to follow her passion. She made me feel like her rock, like the one constant in her life. I proposed on the 2-year anniversary of our first date, took her back to the same spot, and got down on one knee. She burst into tears and said yes before I could finish my sentence. That moment felt so real, so pure. I'd have bet everything I owned on her love for me. And in a way, I did. The wedding was small but elegant. We did it in a garden venue just outside of town. I paid for most of it because her parents said they were tight on funds. I didn't think twice. I was marrying the woman I loved. Who cares who paid for what? She planned everything. Picked the color schemes, the dress, the floral arrangements. I just smiled and nodded and made sure the checks cleared. That should have been my first red flag. She was obsessed with the wedding, but barely talked about the marriage. After the honeymoon, life moved fast. We got a little place on the edge of town. I was working long hours, trying to land some big contracts. She started doing freelance work, or so she said, but I never really saw the work. She'd say she was editing social media campaigns or helping small companies build an online presence. I didn't pry. I wanted to believe in her. First year in, things were okay. We had some fights, mostly about how often I worked or how I wasn't emotionally present, whatever that meant. I thought she just needed time to adjust. Second year, the changes started. She was on her phone constantly, smiling at messages she wouldn't show me. Her girls' nights became more frequent. Then came the overnight trips, weekend getaways, self-care weekends with her friends. Every time I asked questions, I was accused of being insecure or controlling. I remember one weekend she told me she was going to her sister's for a spa day. Later that night, I saw a mutual friend post a group selfie from a bar 2 towns over. I asked her about it, and she got defensive. Said plans changed, and she didn't feel the need to report every little update to me. I let it go. I wanted to believe the best in her. Then came the Miami trip, 5 days, all girls. She said it was to unwind and bond with her closest friends. They had matching outfits, a whole itinerary. It was something they'd been planning for months, supposedly. She was so excited, so animated about it, like a teenager going to prom. I remember feeling uneasy, not jealous, just disconnected, like I was no longer part of her joy. The day she left, I kissed her on the forehead and told her to be safe and have fun. She said, "Love you," and left. The next 5 days were eerily quiet. She barely texted, said she was too busy enjoying the trip. The few pictures she sent were heavily filtered group shots, nothing personal, nothing intimate. When she came back, she acted strange, distant, distracted, like someone who had already made up their mind about something and was just waiting for the right time to act. She wasn't mean, but she wasn't present either. That same week, her friend Melissa reached out. Now I barely knew Melissa. She'd been over to our house a couple times, always polite but reserved. She messaged me on Instagram out of nowhere, said she needed to talk in person. I met her at a coffee shop the next day. I thought maybe she was in trouble or needed help. Instead, she sat down across from me, took a deep breath, and said, "I can't keep this to myself anymore. Alyssa cheated on you in Miami." I just stared at her. "She met some guy at a club," she continued. "They were dancing, flirting. We all saw it. She left with him that night, came back the next morning pretending nothing happened." I still remember how calm Melissa was. Not because she didn't care, but because she had probably rehearsed this over and over. "She swore us to secrecy," she added. "Said it was a one-time thing and we should mind our business, but I can't. You don't deserve this." I asked how she could be sure. That's when she showed me the video. There was Alyssa, my wife, grinding on some dude at a club, laughing, kissing him, looking like she was having the time of her life. At one point, she looked right at the camera, flashed a peace sign, and went right back to kissing him. Melissa said she had another clip. Alyssa and the guy leaving together, hand in hand. It was blurry, but it was her. Same dress, same heels, same hair. I felt numb, like the floor fell out from under me. I didn't confront Alyssa right away. I needed time to process, to think, to breathe. The next day, I printed the screenshots and waited for her to come home. She walked in like nothing happened. I sat her down, handed her the photos, and said, "Explain this." Her face went white. She didn't deny it, didn't cry, didn't beg, just said, "I'm sorry, it didn't mean anything." Didn't mean anything? You throw away a marriage for something that didn't mean anything? She said she felt neglected, that the spark was gone, that she wanted to feel wanted again. I asked, "So you flew across the country to hook up with a stranger and came back wearing your ring like nothing happened?" She just nodded. I moved out that night, called a lawyer the next morning, filed for divorce within the week. It's been over a year now, and let me tell you, divorce doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your identity. I kept asking myself, was it me? Was I too boring? Did I work too much? Was I not enough? But the truth is, I was enough. I was loyal, loving, generous, dependable. I gave her the space she wanted, the resources she needed, and the future we dreamed about, and she still chose to blow it all up for a cheap thrill. I've learned something most men don't figure out until it's too late. Some women don't want a husband. They want a sponsor. They want the wedding, the pictures, the honeymoon, the Instagram followers. They want the comfort of a man's income and the freedom of a single woman's lifestyle. But the work of marriage, the loyalty, the maturity, that's where they tap out. Alyssa didn't love me. She loved being married. There's a difference. She loved the idea of having a strong man to fall back on. But when the responsibilities of commitment showed up, she looked for an escape. And when temptation knocked, she didn't just answer, she invited it in, poured it a drink, and slept with it. Now I'm rebuilding. It hasn't been easy. I lost weight, mostly from stress at first, then from hitting the gym to get my power back. I started hanging out with my brothers again, caught up with old friends, and even joined a men's group. I've been focusing on my business and reinvesting in myself, books, fitness, mental health. I'm not looking to date anytime soon. Not seriously, and I sure as hell don't trust easily anymore. But I'm alive. I'm free. I'm learning. So if you're a man reading this or hearing this on the channel, here's my advice. Don't ignore the signs. Don't let her gaslight you into thinking your gut is wrong. Don't fall for the illusion just because she cries at the altar or posts anniversary pictures with long captions. A woman who truly loves you will protect your name in a room full of temptation. She won't throw everything away for a weekend of attention. I lost a wife, but I found myself, and I'd take that trade any day. Thanks for reading this true story. Keep doing what you're doing. This space matters more than you know. Bobby, Followup. Life after finding out she cheated during a girls' trip. Hey, true story. I hope this message finds you well. I just wanted to make sure you received my first email, the one titled, Ex-Wife Cheated During a Girls' Trip. I poured a lot into that message. Honestly, I wasn't sure if I'd actually send it when I finished writing it, but I'm glad I did. Just writing it out was therapeutic. This one's a follow-up. Think of it as a check-in, not just with you or the channel, but with myself. It's been over a year since everything happened. A year since my marriage imploded, since I packed up my things and walked out of a house I thought I'd grow old in. A year since the version of me who believed in unconditional love died, and a new version of me was born from the ashes. I'll tell you this, heartbreak feels like death at first. You walk around like a zombie thinking, this can't be my life. This has to be some sick prank from the universe. But nobody's laughing. Nobody shows up with a hidden camera and says, just kidding. It's real, all of it. And you either let it bury you or you start digging yourself out. I started digging. Let me back up a little. After I sent the divorce papers and moved out, I went to stay with my brother for a while. I just needed space. Time to breathe. Time to not smell her perfume on the pillows. My brother has a place out in the country. Lots of open land, silence, and a big front porch that became my personal therapy chair. We'd sit out there at night, drink bourbon, and talk about anything but her, until I was finally ready to talk about her. He told me something that stuck with me. Sometimes God breaks your heart to save your soul. At first, I didn't believe it. I thought losing Alyssa was punishment, like I must have messed up somewhere, maybe in a past life or something, and this was my karma. But now, I don't think it was punishment. I think it was mercy. Let me tell you what I've been doing since everything ended. The first 3 months were pure survival mode. I was functioning on autopilot. Get up, go to work, come home, stare at the wall, repeat. I lost 20 pounds without trying. My appetite vanished. Sleep was hit or miss. And the only thing that gave me any peace was the gym. I'd go late at night, throw on a hoodie, blast heavy metal or old school rap, and lift until my arms felt like spaghetti. That gym became my church. Something about pushing through the pain physically helped me process the pain emotionally. Every drop of sweat felt like a piece of her memory leaving my body. Every rep was a reminder, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. After the fog started lifting, I got serious about rebuilding my routine. I picked up reading again, not fiction, but stuff about masculinity, healing, psychology. I started listening to podcasts for men, real ones, not that fluff you find on mainstream platforms. Guys talking about the dark stuff, the real stuff, and how to overcome it. It was like hearing my own thoughts coming from strangers. Gave me perspective, gave me direction. I also started journaling. At first it felt awkward. What grown man keeps a diary, right? But nah, it helped. Writing down my thoughts gave me somewhere to put the chaos. Some days I'd write about her. Other days, I'd write about my past, my dreams, my anger, my regrets. Eventually, the pages weren't just about pain, they became about purpose. I also got back into my business with a new fire. I took on more projects, hired two more guys to help with the load, and finally launched the side hustle I'd been putting off for years: custom woodworking, tables, benches, wall art. The orders have been steady. Creating something with your hands, there's just something powerful about that. Now let's talk about Alyssa for a second. I haven't heard from her much. She reached out twice after the divorce. First time it was some generic "I hope you're okay" message. Second time it was a longer message, half apology, half justification. She said she still thinks about me, still cares, but that we grew apart. I didn't respond to either one. Why would I? What is there left to say? You don't grow apart from someone you promised forever to. You detach because you want something new, something exciting. She didn't want me anymore, and instead of ending it with integrity, she took the coward's route. I'll never respect that. And yeah, maybe that sounds harsh, but I've learned I'm not responsible for protecting someone's feelings after they trampled mine. The part that hurts the most isn't even the cheating. It's realizing how fake her love must have been. If you can betray someone while wearing a ring they bought you, while spending money they earned, while living in a life they built for you, that's not love. That's exploitation with a pretty face. I've talked to a lot of guys since this happened. Friends, coworkers, even strangers online. And you know what I've realized? My story isn't unique. It's common. Too common. A lot of women today, not all, but a disturbing amount, see marriage like a benefits package. They want the ring, the social media clout, the financial security, the hubby goals posts, but not the sacrifice, not the loyalty, not the day-to-day effort that love actually requires. Alyssa wanted a wedding, not a husband. She wanted to feel adored, not act committed. So what now? Well, I'm not dating. Not seriously anyway. I've gone on a few dates, sure. Grabbed dinner, had conversations, but I make my boundaries very clear now. I don't play the nice guy who bends over backward anymore. That version of me got used up and tossed aside. And now, I lead with honesty. I'm upfront about what I expect, and I have no problem walking away the second I smell entitlement or manipulation. I'm also setting goals, real ones. I'm buying a small piece of land outside the city, planning to build a cabin-style house, minimalist but strong. Just me, nature, and my dogs. I want peace. I want space. I want to build again, not just furniture or houses, but a life I can be proud of. Therapy. Yeah, I gave that a try too. Wasn't sure at first, but I found a solid guy who specializes in men recovering from betrayal trauma. We don't sit around talking about feelings like in the movies. We work. We talk strategy, mindset, patterns. It's like training for your brain. He's helped me reframe what happened, not as a failure on my part, but as a misalignment of values. She wasn't loyal. I was. End of story. He told me something that stuck with me. You didn't lose a wife. You lost a woman who never planned on being one. Facts. I also stopped trying to be liked. That's a big one. For most of my life, I just wanted to be the good guy, the dependable one. The one who never raised his voice, never set hard boundaries, never walked away. But you know what that got me? Betrayed, used, and emotionally bankrupt. So now, I choose respect over approval. Every time. I've reconnected with my parents too. They were heartbroken when the divorce happened, but they've been supportive. My mom told me she always had a weird feeling about Alyssa, but didn't want to meddle. I told her next time she better speak up. We laughed. That laugh meant something. It was healing. My dad? He's proud of how I handled everything. Said he saw a man come out of this, not a victim. That meant more than he probably knows. Oh, and guess what? Melissa, the friend who told me the truth about Alyssa, ended up messaging me again recently. Not in a romantic way, but just to check in. She told me she's no longer friends with Alyssa, said she saw how manipulative she could be, and that the whole Miami trip opened her eyes. Melissa apologized again for not telling me sooner. I told her she did the right thing when it mattered. That's more than I can say for most people. There's something sobering about realizing how many people saw the cracks before you did. Anyway, I don't know if you'll read this email on the channel, and honestly, I'm okay either way. I didn't write this for attention. I wrote it because healing is messy, and sometimes you need to put your mess into words before you can fully understand it. I'm not the same man I was 2 years ago. I'm stronger, sharper, a little colder, yeah, but wiser too. I've rebuilt my foundation, not with fairy tales or false hope, but with truth, discipline, and self-respect. So if there's any guy out there listening who's going through it right now, who just found out his wife or girlfriend isn't who he thought she was, I'll say this: you're not crazy, you're not weak, and you sure as hell aren't alone. It's not your job to fix a woman who doesn't respect you. It's your job to protect your peace, rebuild your identity, and keep moving forward, even if you have to crawl at first. Because someday you'll wake up and realize you're not thinking about her anymore. And when that day comes, you'll smile to yourself and say, I made it. Thanks for being one of the reasons I made it. True story. Keep doing what you do.